Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Brian Howard. 20 years ago, I began my real estate career with Century 21, then Keller Williams, then a couple of small brokerages. And then after 15 years of being with RE/MAX, I made the big decision to move to eXp Realty. Things have never been better. This is a short podcast on why many, just like me, think this model is the future and why you may wish to be part of it. Please enjoy today's podcast. Well, folks, welcome to another edition of Living in Calgary, but today, why I joined eXp. Today, I am privileged to have my best ever guest, and I think most famous on the show, Lisa Copeland from Austin, Texas. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. Wow, I'm your most famous. That's scary.
I think so, Lisa. I was just I have a couple of young guys working with me in my office here today. And I was telling them, I met Lisa. Well, we haven't really met other than I met you on the platform recently. And Lisa, you brought Grant Cardone's wife into the business. Is that right?
I did. I've known Grant for a really long time. I used to be a car dealer here in Austin, Texas, and I owned the #1 Fiat Alfa Romeo dealership in the world. And so I knew Grant from automotive, and I knew the day I joined eXp that Grant needed to be a part of this because he had such a following, such disciples of what he does and how he does it. And, so I presented it to him, and it was not easy. I will tell you, I did not get him on the first go around.
Well, that's incredible. And when I was telling these young guys that you did that, and I said that she used to sell Grant cars, they were like very impressed because all he drives is Rolls Royces and stuff, they said.
Right. Now, so I did not used to sell Grant cars. Here's what's interesting. I was Grant's client. So Grant came in to my dealership in 2011 and tried to sell me training. And it was Grant walking in my dealership. And I was just at his home a couple of weeks ago at his new home with he and Elena. And we were just celebrating. It was just the three of us. And we were talking and we were kind of going back to 2011 to where I was then, to where he was then. And he said to me, he said, all I needed from you when I walked into your dealership that day, Lisa, was a $4,000 check. That's all I was looking for. And I was sitting on the back porch of his new house, the one that he just bought from Tommy Hilfiger for $26 million, looking at South Beach and I looked at him and I said, wow, like how far you have come, my friend, how far you have come.
Really? That was only in 2011. That is wild.
Sure. That is wild.
Did you join his coaching at that time?
No, I did not. I did not. And you cannot believe how much he throws that in my face and has over the years.
Wow. So Lisa, when you were in the car business in 2011, when did you get involved in real estate?
My real estate is kind of interesting. So I founded a company called Austin Mortgage 23 years ago. It was in January of 2000, and prior to that, it was a different company that we merged. And so I was in the mortgage business for about 10 years. My husband's, we still own the company. My husband still runs it to this day. And I left my own company because I had the opportunity to relaunch the Fiat brand, Fiat cars, to the United States. And I thought, why not? And so I left my own company as the CEO, put my husband in charge, and then I went into the automotive industry. So it's kind of a crazy story, but that's that. And then COVID, so I sold my dealership in 2016, I wrote a couple books. I did a television show in Canada, in fact, in Toronto called Car Sharks. Yeah, Proper Television was the production company up there. And I was on national speaking tours. I was doing Fox News. I was doing a lot of stuff as an analyst and an expert. And then COVID hit. And so in March of 2020, I was on a stage speaking. Because I do a lot of keynote speaking. And I was speaking to a group. It was Allied Van Lines, and it was their global team. And we were in Chicago, and I was the closing keynote speaker. I walk off the stage. The meeting planner meets me backstage because I was just getting ready to go up to my hotel room because I had a meeting with the CEO the next morning because I'm a consultant. And she said, "We're going to get you home tonight." And I was like, "Why? Did I do something wrong? Did the audience hate me? Like, what was it?" And she said, no, Chicago's going to go under quarantine tomorrow. And me from Texas, I'm like, "What do you mean go under quarantine? What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, the coronavirus." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like, again, we weren't even talking about it in March in Texas. So yeah. And I said, okay. So I remember getting to Chicago O'Hare Airport and calling my husband, and I was the only one who didn't have a mask, gloves, people were covered up. Oh my God, it was crazy. And that was the most vulnerable I think I've ever felt in my life. And that was probably the only time that fear overcame me during this whole COVID thing, was
Wow.
being in that airport, not really understanding why I'm flying home,
Mhm.
and seeing everybody covered up but me.
Wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was probably the most stressful airplane ride I had going home, because, they'd instilled so much fear in me. Anyways, that's a whole nother subject about me and fear. Like I speak on it. I think it's wrong, but people can instill it in you, whether it's real or not. Right. So anyways, I got home, and that was in March. So my agent started calling me, and he's like, we're canceled, we're canceled, we're canceled, we're canceled. Like, all my speaking stuff gets canceled. So a guy by the name, he's an eXp agent, Haas Pratt,
Hmm.
and Haas wrote the book The Listing Boss, and he's in Dallas, Texas, and we're really good
Okay.
friends. And he and I have the same agent, and he called me, and he's like, what are you doing? And I said, I think I'm going to get a real estate license, because I've done everything else, and I'm not going to sit at home. I'm not going to let this pandemic keep me down. And real estate was an essential career in Texas. It
Hmm.
still is.
Yeah.
And they never shut us down. They never shut down mortgages, cars, real estate. Like, our governor kept us moving forward, thank God. I got my real estate license, and I met with Haas and Tariq El Moussa from HGTV.
Right. The
And
agency.
yes, and I love Tariq. And so I'm on Tariq's team. And I just said, I'm going to do this. And I had a lot of companies come after me. But coming from the financial services world, right, owning a mortgage
Hmm.
company, I do not like any business that's only transactional.
Hmm.
So if I do a deal and it's one and done, that's not sustainable. And that's not how you build generational wealth.
Hmm.
And when Tariq and Haas showed me eXp and the multiple streams of income, that if I could build people, I could build a legacy, I could build an empire. And
Hmm.
I've always been really good at building people. That's
Hmm.
why my team was number one in the world, literally, in the car business.
Right.
And that's why VPs of sales of Fortune 5s, Fortune 1s hired me, was to help get their sales teams unstuck. So I say that to say I'm in a business where I build people. I build people, and I build people to succeed. And
Hmm.
eXp, in my opinion, was the only vehicle I could do that with. And then, I started selling a lot of real estate. I'm going to close 6 deals this month. And
Wow.
yeah. And, and it's the power of influence. So, how do I teach other people how to build a celebrity brand? And so anyways, it's just everything I love to do. And honestly, I thank God every single day that I found eXp and that Haas Pratt presented it to me.
That's fantastic. And so you've been in eXp for about a year, it sounds like, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
more than a year.
Yeah. No, it is a year. In fact, my cap date is July 1st.
Hmm.
We just did the math. It looks like I'm going to hit Icon Agent. So I'm pretty thrilled about that.
Fantastic. In your first year,
Yeah.
congratulations. And
Thank
not
you.
surprising, you move quick, Lisa.
I do move quick. I do. Anyways, I just think it's the greatest company in the world. And I'm so grateful. I've got 171 in my downline.
Wow,
Uh-huh.
171 already. How many would you
I
have
do.
on your tier one?
27.
27. So
Yep.
Lisa, is it fair to ask in terms of revenue, like per month? Is it a fair
Yep.
question to ask what you'd be earning in that
Sure.
rev share per month at this point?
Yeah. Last month I earned 7,800.
Mm-hmm.
This month I'm going to do about 8,100. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and a lot of these people are going to start capping, right? I've got to go keep building that front line, build that front line. And so hopefully this is the eXp agents that are listening to this. Like, never take your eye off that front line. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. And it's just critical. And again, we are in the business to build people, and
Mm-hmm.
we build people so that they can build a legacy and they can build generational wealth. And when they do it, we do it just by
Mm-hmm.
osmosis.
So I've been in the business for 20 years selling real estate, and with Remax for 15 of those years. And just recently, well, not that recently, in the way the world moves so quickly, in February, I joined eXp. And just the difference in my own mindset of working in this, under this platform, under this model, the system, is so much more fun and so much more collaborative. And I see, you got into the business and found eXp, your first real estate company, and you're loving it.
I would never leave. I am, as the Keller Williams people are posting everywhere, I am unrecruitable.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Very neat. So what are you finding? I mean, you're a speaker, you're already a almost icon agent in your first year. What
Yeah.
are you finding easy these days? What do you find easy?
Nothing. Nothing. I know you're in Canada, and I'm not sure if
Yeah.
you're in the same mess we're in when it comes to inventory, but it's really tough down here right now. The new home builders have quit building. Several of them that are still building, they said, we're not going to pay realtors anymore. They've all
What?
gone to that because they're like, we don't
So,
need you. And I'm like, guys, there's
uh,
going to be a day that you need me again, and I will never sell one of your houses.
right.
Right.
Yeah. So your inventory,
So
you're really low. Things are just selling like hotcakes. Is that right? Where you are?
yeah, yeah, it's nuts. And it is what it is, right? It just is what it is. But again, I'm in the people business. And so the beautiful thing about eXp, I'm also a certified mentor.
Hmm.
So I've got several ways that I can shift my attention. So I'm primarily a listing agent, which is a good thing to
Hmm.
be right now. I have a team that I mentor, which that's another bucket of income. I've got my rev share income. I've got my income from, of course, selling home. I'm earning stock and equity in the company. So, that's the beautiful thing about when you join a company like ours is that, you can turn your attention. Michael Dell, Dell Computer is in my hometown, and I actually know Michael Dell very well.
Hmm.
And Michael Dell gave a speech probably 10 years ago to the economic committee here in our town. And he said, the most successful businesses in the world, they follow the money. They follow the money.
Hmm.
And the example he gave us, and this is US based, but that when President Bush was president, that Dell Computer put all their money and they were building resources for Homeland Security. And that's because that was Bush's hot button. When Obama became president, then they switched their services to medical, like, going after hospitals and things like that. It's taking your eye and following the money. So when you have a vehicle like eXp where you've got multiple streams of income, maybe you don't want to work with buyers right now, but you could work with listings. Maybe you don't want to sell houses at all right now. You want to work with building people, building a team, building a legacy, right? So there's many ways to go. And so I love the company because you can pivot,
Hmm.
and pivoting is critical sometimes.
Hmm. Well, that's great. Awesome. Is there anything exciting that our listeners should know about maybe you or about eXp or about the world? Anything that you want to share that's exciting coming up? Folks may
Um,
want to know about.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything exciting with me coming up. I'm just putting my head down and working hard and just super grateful. But, just with eXp in general, I think that Grant Cardone has energized the company to all new levels. I think
Hmm.
there's going to be a lot of offerings for our agents within the Cardone University. And I think there's just a whole new level of confidence in the company that a real estate icon like Grant Cardone, where he could have gone anywhere, that he chose eXp. And so, and I'll tell you, I would not have got the deal put together without our chairman of the board, Glenn Sanford, who's an
Hmm.
amazing man who got involved, rolled his sleeves up, and really, really helped me put the deal together. And so I'm grateful to the leadership at eXp. It is above reproach. It's just, I don't know, it's just the greatest company I've ever been involved with.
Lisa, let me ask you a question that's a little bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe a little deep or personal. I think
Sure.
Grant Cardone is a very similar age to me. So I suspect that you're a similar age to me as well.
No,
Now,
I'm younger than Grant.
you're younger than Grant. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'm 54. And I'm finding
Oh,
like
well, you and I are the same age, just so you know.
oh,
Grant
okay.
Grant
Okay.
is 63.
Grant is 63. Wow. I'm surprised. I
Yeah, he
thought we
looks
were
like a
similar
million
age.
bucks, doesn't he?
Well, he does. Yeah, he's great. That's awesome. I'm wondering, the world moves so quick. You move quick. Like when you, like, I think like you just entered like real estate a year ago. You were doing
Yeah,
public speaking prior to that, like, way
right,
back when COVID started in March. Like to me, that was a blink of an eye. How do
right.
you like, and so like in my age group, mid 50s, how do you stay so energetic? Like when you're listening to these podcasts or these people that talk about, oh, way back, let me think, oh, 2018 or 19, like as if that was forever ago. To me, that's a blink of an eye. Do you relate to this at all? I don't think you do. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Kind of, but I'll tell you, I think it is critical. So here's a fun fact. Again, I can only speak to the US, which is National Association of Realtors, but the average realtor is 55 years old.
I'm average.
And yes, and they're on their third career, their third
Right.
and final, right? So this is
Hmm.
it. Like they've retired out, they've done whatever, they've done their 30-year stint somewhere, their 20-year badge, blah, blah, blah. And this is what they want to retire into as realtors. Now, we know also that only 10 to 15% of the people that come in are actually going to make it for a year. I think that you've got to have your eye on something bigger. When you asked about where I get my energy and where I get my drive, you got to have your eye on the big picture, right? Like
Hmm.
I would not, for example, if eXp would not have had all these other buckets, all these other opportunities within the vehicle of eXp, And my thought would have been, oh God, I have to just go sell houses one at a time. No way.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have touched it. Wouldn't have touched it
Mhm.
with a 10-foot pole.
Right. With your experience, with your age, with your
Yeah, all of
wisdom,
it.
there's no
All of
way.
it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be 65 and wiping down doorknobs. I just
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
And it isn't the highest and best use of me. So when I know I can go show property, when I can do everything that I've done over the last 20 years, which is build world sales teams, world record breaking sales teams, and that, which is what I love the most. And I'm able to attract younger agents
Mhm.
because they know my track record, right? I mean, anybody who has
Mhm.
Google knows my track record, and they know that I will help them build a path to success. And to me, for me personally, that is sustainable. That's something I know I can do every single day. I can build up generational wealth for my family, and I can show other people and young people and middle-aged people and everything how to do what I do. And that's honestly, it energizes me. And when I get the phone calls from agents that have said, this has changed my life, and I've already gotten those phone calls. And I really had the conversation with Grant Cardone at his house a couple of weeks ago, sitting on the back
Mhm.
porch, he and Elena
Mhm.
and Ryan, the pilot. We were all just sitting around talking, and he's like, this is, there's some big stuff working for him with eXp. And he's like, this was a game changer for me. Thank you for staying in the game and making me listen, and I'm like, yeah, well, Grant, it wasn't easy, but that's what I teach people, right? Just because someone
Mhm.
gives you a no today, it's not a no forever, right? You stay
That's
in the
awesome.
game and you present different scenarios. And I'll leave it with this, and for people to think about. When I originally brought Grant into the deal, I had a meeting set up, and it was with
Mhm.
Tarek El Moussa from HGTV, Brian Colhane, who's the co-founder
Mhm.
of eXp, Haas Pratt, listing boss, me. Okay, that was the eXp team.
Mhm.
Then we had, it was supposed to be Grant and Jared Glant, who is the president of Cardone. And I've known Jared for 11 years also. And all of a sudden we get to the Zoom call and there's no Grant Cardone. And I was furious. And I send Jared a text. I'm like, where is GC? Like, you're making me look bad in front of the co-founder of eXp and Tarek El Moussa and because we're all on Zoom, right? So we're all on
Mhm.
camera. And he's like, oh, Grant can't get there. And like, he couldn't give me a straight answer. Well, here's the rest of the story that Grant told me later, is that Grant had COVID and he was filming Undercover Billionaire. And nobody knew he was doing it at that time. So that's why Jared was so sketchy with me. So we
Oh.
went ahead and we did the meeting with Jared. It took an hour, and Jared's like, okay, good. Yeah, I like it. Then I start calling Jared the next day. Hey, what'd Grant say? And bottom line is, Grant said no. Well,
Mhm.
Grant didn't really understand the whole concept. But what I'll tell everybody out there, I know Grant so well, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I didn't have the right people at the table. Now, you guys remember I told you who the magnitude of the people at the table were
Wow.
already?
Yeah.
It wasn't big enough for Grant. I knew that I had to get, something Grant had recorded a long time ago. It struck me in the middle of the night. And he said, there's sometimes you have to bring you have to bring the big dogs to the table.
Mhm.
I was like, damn, I did not have the right people at the table. Cardone doesn't want to talk to the number 2 guy at eXp. He wants to talk to the chairman of the board.
Yeah.
Well, I reached out to Brian Colhane and said, I think we need Glenn Sanford involved, our chairman. And he
Mhm.
said, okay, let me run this up to Sanford and then I'll let you know. Sanford
Mhm.
immediately said yes. Glenn reached out to me. What do we need to do, Lisa? So Glenn and I came up with a strategy, and
Yeah.
I called Grant back and I said, Grant, how about a meeting with the chairman of the board of eXp World Holdings? And I said, and let me just put this to you. We are a $15 billion company.
Mhm.
And he was like, I'll take that meeting. I said, okay. Okay. And so literally the day of the meeting, Grant FaceTimed me right 10 minutes before he was going to have the call. And this is all stuff I know I can talk about because Grant and I totally rehashed it the other night at his house.
Right.
And like 10 minutes before the meeting, Grant FaceTimes me. He's like, who is this guy again? Like, why am I doing this meeting? I said, Grant, I just want you to listen. Chairman of the board, $15 billion company. You're the man. All right. I'll take the meeting. So he
Wow.
and Glenn Sanford did the meeting, and the rest is history. There's
Wow.
a lot more in between, up, down, around. But the bottom line is that you've got to, when you're trying to put together a deal of this magnitude, I did
Mhm.
not have the right people at the meeting the first time around. And
Wow.
again, listening to who they were, you would have thought they were the right people. So I want to encourage all the agents out there. If you get a no initially, go back to the drawing board and really break down. Ask yourself, do I have the right people at the table? When you have a Grant Cardone at the table who is a chairman of the board, or you have a big broker at the table, or you've got, somebody who's done big things at the table, you've got to get somebody bigger than them to the table.
Right.
And the only person in all of EXP that's bigger than Cardone is Sanford.
Right. That's great.
Right.
Good for you, Lisa. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. So again, I want to encourage,
yeah.
use your uplines sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I work on people in my 4th level. I actually help them recruit, 5th level. Like if it's a big enough deal, if it's a good deal, I'm in, put me in,
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Lisa, your vision, your mission statement, is it something you help build people? Is that what you're focusing on?
I really do.
And
Yeah.
what is your principle? How are you spending your day, your week right now? Is it real estate sales? Is it attraction? What are you doing these
About
days?
half and half. It's about half and half because I do listings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I work on building that listing portfolio. I do not like showing buyers. And so
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while I'll take a buyer, but I have a buyer's agent. And then I use my other time just really looking at who's out there in the market, who's out there around the country, looking at their social media, looking at their LinkedIn, who would be a good partner for me? Who would be a good partner for eXp?
Mm-hmm. Good for
Right?
you.
And starting to build those bridges and those relationships.
Can I ask someone like yourself, how are you attracting listings right now? How do you get your business, your real estate business, sales?
Yeah. Great question. I do a lot on social media, and I've really established myself as the authority. I'm a former car dealer. I am the best negotiator in the country. Just ask me. I say it kind of tongue in cheek. Just ask me, right?
Just ask me. I love it.
How do you create an authority brand? Well, you go out there and you claim it. So for everybody out there who's struggling, you want to come up with what is the best thing about you? And then put your stake in the ground. I'm known to be a negotiator. I mean, of course I am. I'm a car dealer. I was a car dealer.
Right.
Who's a better negotiator than the person that owns the car dealership? Nobody, right? So what is it about you? Are you the best marketer? Are you the best community person? Are you the biggest philanthropist? Whatever that may be, but take that and own it. And, but don't spend a lot of time on it with potential listings, because at the end of the day, they want to do business with somebody who's going to maximize their profits. Let's be real. They don't care your CIS, your CD, all of that, all the initials behind your name, throw them away. Throw them away. They want to know that they're dealing with somebody that knows how to market their property and maximize their equity.
Maximize their equity. And yeah, very good. Maximize their equity. Yeah. I'm making notes here. Thank you so much.
Good. I like that.
Lisa, what are some of your future goals?
I am going to set up a group coaching program for people that are not in my downline, because I already do it for my downline. But I feel like that there's a lot of what I would call orphaned people at eXp.
Okay.
Orphans just meaning that, their upline is left, their sponsor is left, whatever that may be. And I really want to, pour into them.
Wow.
And I think that that's super important, because the more successful the company is, the more successful we all are, right?
Yeah, awesome. And how do people find you? How do they reach out to learn more about Lisa Copeland?
Yeah, let's see. My website is sellingcentraltexas.com. And I'm on Instagram, real_Lisa Copeland.
Nice.
And my speaker's website is lisacopeland.com, my speaking and consulting.
Very nice.
lisacopeland.com. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm super findable.
We're going to include links to all of that in the show notes. And of course, Google will find you just as well.
Yeah. I cannot hide.
Lisa Copeland with a C, just like it sounds.
Yes.
Lisa, thanks so much for being on the show. Anything else that you want to leave our listeners with today? Any last messages?
Yeah, no, I just want to encourage y'all, your life and your business is what you make it. And it's about your mindset. And if you wake up every single morning with tasks, right? With goals, every night before I go to bed, and I've done this for 30 years, I make a list. I make a list of everything I need to do the next day. And I sleep so well because I don't wake up going, oh, what did I do? And then I knock out that list first thing, if at all possible, first thing in the morning, right? You always I work out and I do my to-do list. I try to have everything done by 11. And then that just gives me time to, number one, live a little bit of a life. Number two, just not feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, and just feeling really accomplished. Like today, this morning, I had my whole list knocked out by noon.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was a long list because it's a month, it's a Monday. And I was just like, whew, I get to breathe now. I get to do your show. I get to do this. I get to do that. But, it's just, and there's just something to having a positive mindset. I got to talk to a few people on my team today who I just adore around the country and encourage them. And, I'm going to probably go take my dog for a walk after this. So it's really about time blocking. And so that you're not working 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it. Lisa, that is awesome. I am going to write myself a list before I go to bed tonight and get everything done tomorrow by 11 a.m. so I can relax and enjoy a bit as well.
Okay. Well, good. Thank
Lisa,
you for having me. I appreciate it.
Listen,
Yeah.
Lisa, thanks so much again. I really
You're
look forward to
welcome.
meeting you in person, and keep on killing it. Okay. Smashing
Thank you.
it.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Thank you for listening today. For more information on eXp Realty and to learn how to align with myself, Brian Howard at eXp Realty, visit partnerwithhoward.com. That's partner, PARTNER, with WITH, Howard, HOWARD.com. Thanks for listening.